Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Welcome to Nectar of Devotion class. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rūpa Kadāmahyam Tadāti Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rūpam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakalavitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vedanta Swamini Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurdushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Panchakalpatarurvyasya Kripa Sindhubhye Vacham Tatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We are studying chapter 1, characteristics of pure devotional service. So pure devotional service has 6 qualities. Kleshagni Shubhada. Then there's Sudurlabha, Moksha Lagutakrit, Sandrananda Visheshatma, Shri Krishna Karshni. Sadhana Bhakti, it brings about 2 qualities. Which are they? Kleshagni and what is the next one? Shubhada, right? Auspiciousness. Isn't it? That is the quality that sadhana bhakti brings about. And they manifest at the stage of nishtha properly. They manifest at the stage of nishtha. Because if you see the 9 stages of bhakti, Adav Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Vajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. So Anartha Nivritti means getting free from anarthas. So how can one be happy while the anarthas are still present? Anartha means suffering will be there. So after the anarthas are almost gone, one is situated on the stage of nishtha. Then there is kleshagni and shubhada, all auspiciousness. Then after nishtha comes the other stages. Which are they? They are ruchi, asakti, and then bhav. So this stage of bhav then brings another 2 qualities, which are sudurlabha and what is the next one? Moksha lagutakrit. It makes the happiness of liberation too small, appear too small. And it is sudurlabha. Bhava bhakti is very rarely attained. Even if one is doing sadhana for ages, it's not necessarily true that one will come to the level of bhava bhakti. So one has to pray to Krishna for bhava bhakti. So please give me bhava. Just doing sadhana alone will not help. That is the point to be taken care of. That's why Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī, uh, he emphasizes on bhava bhakti so much. Otherwise, he could have just kept 2 stages in describing bhakti, sadhana and prema. He brought the intermediate stage of bhava because Just doing sadhana alone will not lead to bhava. There has to be an element of crying to Krishna to get that bhava. But once one has gotten bhava, that bhava will soon mature into prema. But getting that bhava is not easily possible. For that, one needs kripa, mercy. So that's why Rupa Goswami put that as the intermediate stage, so that people also know there has to be efforts put to get into that stage, right? So here we are discussing, actually we are reading this section known as happiness and Krishna consciousness. Mm. So this is basically moksha laguta krit. Prabhupada describes three kinds of happiness are there. One comes from sense gratification, another comes from liberation, and the third comes from devotional service. Right? So comparing liberation to devotional service, he quotes many things in the section. He speaks about Ashtasiddhis, eight kinds of siddhis, and then he tells these siddhis, what they are and the kind of happiness they bring is very small in comparison to the happiness that a devotee gets. That's where I think we stopped, right? So we'll continue reading from there. Chapter 1. There was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya known as Kolavich Sridhara, who was a very poor man. He was doing a small business selling cups made from the leaves of plantain trees, and his income was almost nothing. Still, he was spending 50% of his small income on the worship of the Ganges, and with the other 50% he was somehow living. Lord Chaitanya once revealed himself to this confidential devotee, Kolavicha Sridhara, and offered him any opulence he liked. But Sridhara informed the Lord that he did not want any material opulence. He was quite happy in his present position and wanted only to gain unflinching faith and devotion unto the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. That is the position of pure devotees. If they can be engaged 24 hours each day in devotional service, they do not want anything else, not even the happiness of liberation or of becoming one with the Supreme. In the Narad Pancharatra, it is also said that any person who has developed even a small amount of devotional service doesn't care a fig for any kind of happiness derived from religiousness, economic development, sense gratification, or the five kinds of liberation. Any kind of happiness derived from religiousness, economic development, liberation, or sense gratification cannot even dare to enter into the heart of a pure devotee. It is stated that as the personal attendants and maid servants of a queen follow the queen with all respect, mm, uh, and obeisances. Similarly, the joys of religiousness, economic development, and sense gratification, and liberation follow the devotional service of the Lord. In other words, a pure devotee does not lack any kind of happiness derived from any source. He does not want anything but service to Krishna. But even if he should have another desire, the Lord fulfills this without the devotees. Okay. Now the next is rareness of pure devotion. So it is Sudurlabham. Sudurlabham. Why it is rare? Two reasons. First, we cannot attain it by our own efforts, which means sadhana is not sufficient to get bhava bhakti. We cannot, we cannot, we cannot demand from Krishna that because I chanted so many rounds, please give me bhava. Because I did all this for you, I constructed so many temples, I got so much of donation. Give me this bhava. So we cannot demand it from Krishna. And our efforts will never be sufficient to get it. Second, even if let's say we put a lot of efforts to get it, and Krishna is kind of impressed with us. Oh, this gentleman or gentle lady has worked so hard. Krishna is very reluctant to give it because Krishna knows if I give Bhava Bhakti to someone, that person is going to purchase me. I'll become that person's sold out object. So Krishna is very reluctant to give this level of devotional service to anyone. Bhava. Therefore, this is rare to achieve, very rare to achieve. The rareness of Bhava Bhakti. Okay. We will read. Yes. Someone would like to. Madhumati Mukherjee. Dayalu go and provoke him. Yeah.
I'll read.
Yeah, you can read Mataji after that. Dayalu go. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam to you. The rareness of pure devotional service. In the preliminary phase of spiritual life, there are different kinds of austerities, penances, and similar process for attaining self-realization. However, even if an executor of these processes without any material desire, he still cannot achieve devotional service. And aspiring by oneself alone to achieve devotional service is also not very hopeful because Krishna does not agree to award devotional service to merely anyone. Krishna can easily offer a person material happiness or even liberation, but he does not agree very easily to award a person engagement in his devotional service. Devotional service can in fact be attained only through the mercy of a pure devotee. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 19.151, it is said by the Prabhuji, if you can scroll up. By the mercy of the spiritual master, who is a pure devotee, and by the mercy of Krishna, one can achieve the platform of devotional service. There is no other way. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Thank you. So only by the mercy of Krishna and pure devotee of Krishna, one can achieve Bhava Bhakti. Right? That mercy can bring us to that stage. Yes. Victor.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The rarity of devotional service is also confirmed in the Tantra Shastra, where Lord Shiva says to Sati, "My dear Sati, if one is a very fine philosopher, analyzing the different processes of knowledge, he can achieve liberation from the material entanglement. By performance of the ritualistic sacrifices recommended in the Vedas, one can be elevated to the platform of pious activities, and thereby enjoy the material comforts of life to fullest extent. But all such endeavors can hardly offer anyone devotional service to the Lord, not even if one tries for it by such processes for many, many thousands of births." Hare Krishna.
Sure. They are going to.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also confirmed by Prahlad Maharaj that merely by personal efforts or by the instructions of higher authorities, one cannot attain to the stage of devotional service. One must become blessed by the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee, who is completely freed from the contamination of material desires. In the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th chapter, verse 18, Narada also says to Yudhishthira, "My dear king, it is it is Lord Krishna, known as Mukunda, who is the eternal protector of the Pandavas and the Yadus. He is also your spiritual master and instructor in every respect. He is only worshipable God for you. He is very dear and affectionate, and he is the director of all your activities, both individual and familial. And what's more, he sometimes carry out your orders as if he were your messenger. My dear king, how very fortunate you are, because for the others all these favors given to you by the Supreme Lord would not even be dreamt of. The purport to this verse is that the Lord easily offers liberation, but he rarely agrees to offer a sole devotional service, because by devotional service the Lord himself becomes purchased by the devotee. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So sadhana bhakti and no other path can bring us to bhava. Forget about karma yoga, jnana yoga, and ashtanga yoga. That can never manifest bhava. Even bhakti yoga, sadhana bhakti is not sufficient to manifest bhava. Right? It requires Krishna's special mercy. And Krishna's special mercy can be attracted by getting the special mercy of pure devotees of Krishna. Therefore, these people who are Ritvik, they don't understand one point. They think we are able to chant 16 rounds, we are able to follow 4 negative principles. So we'll go back and back about it. Though we have not taken initiation from a pure devotee of Krishna, we are direct disciples of Śrīla Prabhupada. But they don't understand the philosophy properly. That what they are doing is only sufficient to maximum get to the stage of liberation or mukti, which means they can come at max to the stage of namabhas japa or namabhas, chanting, which means because they are doing Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, they are not committing sin, they are living a pious life, they are chanting the holy name. So they are accumulating a lot of punya. And if they are free from material desires, they are nishkam in spirit, they will also get to the stage of liberation or mukti. But after mukti, when it comes to getting an entrance into spiritual reality, spiritual abode of Krishna, who will take them there if they don't have a relationship with the pure devotee of Krishna? That's where they will get stuck. So sometimes they just jump around thinking that, okay, we are also able to do everything what others who are Dikshit are able to do. But they don't understand that just the baby steps we take in Krishna consciousness, that is possible without even the association, direct association of a pure devotee of Krishna. Because it's Vaidhi. Vaidhi means just follow the rules. For that, you don't need to have spiritual master around. If you have that kind of discipline, if you have that kind of, piety, and you will follow the rules, right? That we see, like for example, just now we were in Ahobilam, South India. So there, they are quite disciplined in their religious approach compared to, the mood that we see in North India, right? So that's in their blood. They are very religious in nature. But that is not sufficient to get that bhav for Krishna or bhav for Lord, isn't it? So therefore, this is the place where they get stuck. This is where they get stuck. And the higher levels of devotional service don't become available to them, isn't it? So in one way, it is good. At least they are practicing devotional service. So that's nice. Better be a Ritvik than being a non-devotee. Right? But then that devotional service is not complete. It's not complete. It's incomplete. I wish people read the scriptures properly and try to understand what is the reality. Yes. Next topic. So now what Prabhupada has done is, he mixed up, as I told you before. The 5th topic, which is taking the happiness of becoming one with the Supreme, is actually Moksha Lagutaka. This was something which should have come before. No? And Sandrananda Visheshatma is something which should have come later. But he put Sandrananda Visheshatma here. Happiness in Krishna consciousness. Okay. And he put Moksha Lagutaka here. Happiness of not becoming one with the Supreme. So we just have to be careful, and this is just a stopping that Prabhupada has done. Actually, this quality belongs to Bhava Bhakti, and that quality belongs to Prema Bhakti. In Sanskrit, the names I have already given, and I'll share the PDF today, so it will become more helpful for you to understand from that. Okay. The happiness of becoming one with the Supreme. Monish Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
The screen is not shared.
Not
Prabhuji,
shared.
can you share the
Okay.
screen, please? the happiness of becoming one with Supreme. Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī says that if Brahmanand, or the happiness of becoming one with the Supreme, is multiplied 1 trillion fold, it still cannot compare to an atomic fraction of the happiness derived from the ocean of devotional service. In Hari Bhakti Sabodhya, Prahlad Maharaj, while satisfying Lord Narasimha Dev by his prayer, says, "My dear Lord of the universe, I am feeling transcendental pleasure in your presence and have become merged in the ocean of happiness. I now consider the happiness of..." Could you please scroll up, Prabhuji? Happiness of Brahmanand to be no more than the water in the immersion left by cow's hoof in the earth compared to this ocean of bliss. Similarly, it is confirmed in Bhavartha Deepika, Sridhara Swami commentary on the Śrīmad Bhagavatam. My dear Lord, some of the fortunate persons who are swimming in the ocean of your nectar of devotion and who are relishing the nectar of narration of your pastimes certainly knows statics that immediately minimizing the value of happiness derived from religiousness, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Such a transcendental devotee grants any kind of happiness other than devotional service as no better than straw in the street. Hare Krishna.
Attracting Krishna. Sujata Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Attracting Krishna. Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī has stated that devotional service attracts even Krishna. Krishna attracts everyone, but devotional service attracts Krishna. The symbol of devotional service in the highest degree is Radharani. Krishna is called Madana Mohana, which means that he is so attractive that he can defeat the attraction of thousands of cupids. But Radharani is still more attractive, for she can even attract Krishna. Therefore, devotees call her Madana Mohana Mohini, the attractor of the attractor of Cupid. To perform devotional service means to follow in the footsteps of Radharani and devotees in Vrindavan. But Vrindavan put themselves under the care of Radharani in order to achieve perfection in their devotional service. In other words, devotional service is not an activity of the material world. It is directly under the control of Radharani. In Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the Mahatmas or great souls are under the protection of Daivi Prakriti, the internal energy, Radharani. So being directly under the control of the internal potency of Krishna, devotional service attracts even Krishna himself. This fact is...
Yeah, you can read further if no one is... Please read.
This fact is corroborated by Krishna in the 11th canto of...
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 14th chapter, verse 20, where he says, "My dear Uddhava, you may know it from me that the attraction I feel for devotional service rendered by my devotees is not to be attained even by the performance of mystic yoga, philosophical speculation, ritualistic sacrifices, the study of Vedanta, the practice of severe austerities, or giving of everything in charity. These are, of course, very nice activities, but they are not as attractive to me as the transcendental loving service rendered by my devotees." How Krishna becomes attracted by the devotional service of his devotees is described by Narada in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 10th chapter, verses 48 and 49. There Narada addresses King Yudhishthira by the while the king is appreciating the glories of the character of Prahlada Maharaja. A devotee always appreciates the activities of other devotees. Yudhishthira Maharaja was appreciating the qualities of Prahlada, and that is one symptom of a pure devotee. A pure devotee never thinks himself great. He always thinks that other devotees are greater than himself. The king was thinking, Prahlad Maharaj is actually a devotee of the Lord, while I am nothing. And while thinking this, he was addressed by Narada as follows. My dear King Yudhishthira, you, the Pandava brothers, are the only fortunate people in this world. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared on this planet and is presenting himself to you as an ordinary human being. He is always with you in all circumstances. He is living with you and covering himself from the eyes of others. Others cannot understand that he is the Supreme Lord, but he is still living with you as your cousin, as your friend, and even as your messenger. Therefore, you must know that nobody in this world is more fortunate than you. In Bhagavad Gita, when King Krishna appeared in his universal form, Arjuna prayed, My dear Krishna, I thought of you as my cousin brother, and so I have shown disrespect to you in so many ways, called you Krishna or friend. But you are so great that I could not understand. So that was the position of the Pandavas. Although Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the greatest among all greats, he remained with those royal brothers, being attracted by their devotion, by their friendship, and by their love. That is the proof of how great this process of devotional service is. It can attract even the Supreme Personality of Godhead. God is great, but devotional service is greater than God because it attracts him. People who are not in devotional service can never understand what great value there is in rendering service to the Lord. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Devotional service is greater than God. Because devotional service represents Srimati Radharani. And Srimati Radharani is Madana Mohana Mohini. Right? So she attracts Krishna, and devotional service is her energy. So therefore, anyone who has devotional service attracts Krishna. Right? So that's why we say that if we are doing bhakti, we are all doing it by the mercy of Kripa of Radharani. And that's what helps us to attract Krishna towards us, or Krishna's mercy comes towards us. The chapter is over here. Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī explains that there are 2 degrees of control. That the Lord is controlled even at the stage of Bhava Bhakti, and is also controlled at the stage of Prema Bhakti. But at Bhav, the Lord bestows love of Godhead upon the devotee, and the devotee begins to attract the Lord. But in the stage of Prema, the devotee not just attracts the Lord, but even he enters the pastimes of the Lord and starts controlling the Lord. Which means there is a direct relationship. In Bhava Bhakti, there is no direct relationship. In Prema, there is entrance into pastime and a direct relationship. So in Bhava Bhakti, what happens is there is a remembrance of, or there is a glimpse of who you are in the spiritual world, what your relationship with Krishna is. So you get excited about it. But you are not getting a chance to enter into it. You are just being shown Okay, you are this, you are that, but you're not getting a chance to enter into that role. But in Prema Bhakti, you are there in that role. You can see in those costumes, in that character, and you are directly relating with Krishna. So that's Prema Bhakti, right? Now, if you have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, I would like to read something from our book, which will help us understand how a devotee journeys into the stages of bhav and then finally prema. A real life example. Yes, Madhumati Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, probably what you're going to explain will probably answer my question, but still I'll go ahead and ask. I just want to understand a clear concept of Bhava Bhakti. Now, does pure devotional service eventually leads to Bhava Bhakti that comes within us, a feeling of connecting, or as you explained right now, that you position yourself in that way of relating with Krishna? That was one part of it. And the second part is on a day-to-day basis when we are dealing with uh, practicing devotees, how do we, like you said, connection with the pure devotees, which is only the spiritual master is what I can think of. So the blessings of spiritual master will eventually lead us, is what I wanted to have that confirmation.
Can you come again?
Sorry, Prabhuji?
Can you come again? The first part.
Oh, the first part is like, I wanted to understand clearly the Bhava Bhakti by practicing devotional service that will eventually give a path of Bhava Bhakti that I will feel within myself. I mean, as of now, even if I'm imagining, that is not Bhava Bhakti. It is more deeper.
Yeah. It's not, bhava is not imagination. But we'll come to know later when we study that sometimes there might be mm, some manifestations of bhava in us for temporary short period of times. You know, that may be due to various reasons. And that might be genuine experience, not just imagination. However, it is considered temporary because you are not there, you are just getting some, you can say, electric shocks sometimes. Fine. But it's genuine. It's not like you're faking it or something like that. Hmm? So we have to be sure that we are not at the stage of bhav yet because we are not even properly doing sadhana. Correct. So Vaidhi sadhana itself is not properly being done. Then comes Raga Nuga stage, and then will be Bhav. So that's a long way to go. Correct. Right, isn't it? Now, how one comes to that stage is because of mercy. That's what we is explained. But we are far from there, so we don't have to even think about it now. At present, in our stage of Krishna consciousness, we have to focus on doing the sadhana very nicely. That's the spirit. Second, that sadhana should be done with some feelings for Krishna. I want to do it with love. We don't know what love is, but whatever we define as love, we should try to do service for Krishna with that love, feelings, emotions, and try to make the spiritual master happy. So then this will gradually soften our heart, remove the anarthas from the heart. Then the fine sentiments of what love is will start manifesting in our heart. Then will come Raganuga stage. At that stage, we will then start crying for Krishna. Krishna, I want your mercy. Krishna, I cannot live without you. Krishna, I just need you, nothing else. And that, that thirst, you can say, for Krishna, the Krishna for Krishna, will attract Krishna's mercy, and that will bring bhav to you.
Hmm.
Getting it? Mm. Which will be a very different state. A person who is at that level of devotional service, you can just observe that person is always absorbed, even if that person is walking, eating, talking, listening to a class, sleeping, whatever that person is doing, that person is in a different world.
Mm.
Internally always crying, crying, crying. When will I get Krishna's mercy? When I get Krishna? I don't want anything else. I just want Krishna. I just want Krishna. Then that state of consciousness will bring bhava.
So the episode that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had in Puri next to the sea, that is Bhava Bhakti?
Well, of course not. That is highest stage of prema. Bhava is just a, is like here it's explained by Rupa Goswami, it's just like a ray of the sun. If prema is sun, bhava is just like a sun ray, which means it's just a glimpse.
Mm-hmm.
Bhava means what? Emotion. So at the stage of prema also there is bhav, but prema means it's complete manifestation of bhav. As I told you, now that bhava means okay, just coming to know who you are in the spiritual world. That is itself is so exciting. Your body will be full of ecstasy. But the greater joy will be when you will be actually in that role. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is manifesting very high levels of bhav.
So the separation from Krishna, the gopis used to cry, so that will be prema only, not
That's
bhava.
prema. That's bhava inside prema. No, what is bhav? Bhav means emotion. But when we say bhava bhakti, that means just beginning stages of prema, you can say. The
Yes,
beginning
yes.
stages of prema. So Rupa Goswami has separated it a bit. It's like a bud and then the bud blossoming into a flower. So flower is prema and the bud is bhava.
Yeah, now
Right?
it's clear.
Yeah.
So
So that
bhava
bhava
is
is
the
called bhava bhakti,
initial stage to get into that other stage.
prema. Correct. But the initial stage may not always turn into complete blossoming.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there's a bud and someone then plucks it off, will it become a flower? No. Similarly, Bhava Bhakti is there. If at that stage also I'm not careful, like Bharat Maharaj, he was at the stage of Bhava Bhakti. He was little careless. So then there was a delay. He became a deer, then he became a Jad Bharat. So there was a delay. So even if at that stage one is not careful, Rupa Goswami is saying there's chance of delay. So that's why he separated it. Be careful even at the stage of Bhava Bhakti. Once
all
that
the
bud turns into the flower, then there is no problem. Then it's complete. You know, you're right. It's just like, let's say you are, let's compare material world to the danger zone. And the safe side is on the other end. And there is a gate. As you approach the gate opens, isn't it? But just because the gate has opened, it doesn't mean you have landed into the safe zone. The gate opens, then you have to jump from the danger zone to the safe zone. So bhav is something like the gate is opening of your spiritual reality, of your spiritual life. But if you're not careful, even at that last stage, the gate may get temporarily closed. But once the gate opens, you can see the spiritual reality, right? You're not there, but you can see it. Oh, that's how the spiritual world looks like. And that will give you so much of happiness or excitement, ecstasy. That's bhava, right? But once you jump out of that gate and you are into the spiritual reality, then there's nothing like going back into the danger zone. Then you're completely free.
So Prabhuji say like we are very, 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 very far away from that stage. So does it mean that we take birth after birth to attain that stage, and once we attain, and then it'll be your next progression? At least the guarantee is we'll have a human life to pursue our
Yes,
next.
if we don't do it in one life, we have to take birth again. It may take time actually. Bhakti-siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that for general devotees, ordinary devotees, not special, but ordinary devotees, it will take 3 lives. That's what Bhakti-siddhanta Saraswati teaches. He said, in the first life, they'll purify the body. In the second life, they'll start purifying their mind. And in the third life, they'll purify their consciousness. And which is true. If you look at our lifestyle in the current times, even at the level of body, we are so impure. The food we eat, the things we see, the sound we hear, isn't it? All the nasty things we have been doing using this body. So after coming to Krishna consciousness, we begin to learn how to keep the body clean. People were not taking baths. They began taking bath after coming to Krishna consciousness, right? Isn't it? Not eating proper food, they started eating proper food. So at the bodily level, there is purification. I'm just giving an example. Like people we know from countries like Africa, China, I mean, what they have been eating throughout their life. Can you imagine? Their body is like a graveyard, isn't it? Correct? Right? Huh? Fine, it's okay. We know people who are non-vegetarian, but they are like, they don't eat anything other than non-veg. So whole life will just go in purifying the body itself. Then in the next life, they'll get birth in a good family, where from a childhood they'll be taught all the sanskars, should take bath, should eat good food, live sattvic life. Now the next job is you clean your mind. And then maybe next life, consciousness. So, but there are 3 lives, at least, he said, that much for general devotees. And for those who are very special, they may just do it in one life. But that will be visible easily because they'll be carrying a lot from their past.
Mm.
They'll be carrying a lot from their past. So that examples we know when we study the lives of some of the disciples of Śrīla Prabhupada. They were carrying a lot from the past. So that is there.
So all our acharyas who we have in Gauriya Sampradaya, so is it possible to know which bhav they were in, or it is beyond our?
No, for some of the acharyas, we know what is their identity in the spiritual world. We know. We know their name, we know their appearance, we know what seva they do for Krishna. It's mentioned. There is a book called Gaura Ganodesh Lipika. So there, I don't know the author, in fact, Krishnadas Kaviraj Gosvāmī, or I don't know who. So there, he has mentioned about all the associates of Lord Chaitanya, who are they in the spiritual world. And after that, whatever other personalities we have, like the 6 Goswamis, then we have Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baldev Vidyabhushan, Jagannathas Pavaji Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhakti-siddhanta. For them also it's known which manjari they are, what is their name, what seva they do for Krishna.
Prabhuji, will you let us know the name of the book so that we can buy it?
You'll not come to know about the recent acharyas in that book, Gaur Ganodesh Deepika. But for the recent acharyas, you can know in their biography. Like, for example, Bhakti-siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he's a manjari in spiritual world. And what is the seva? He applies paint, nail paint to Srimati Radha. So there are descriptions like that.
And our Srila Prabhupada?
Yes,
He never
sir.
revealed. Prabhupada never spoke about it. Bhakti-siddhanta Thakur personally spoke about himself, but Prabhupada never spoke about himself. He never spoke about it. He never gave any, I mean, in few places he gave a hint, but he never spoke about it. So no one has, like, spoken about it emphatically, but yes, we can understand. Gaur Govind Maharaj, who is a very advanced devotee, disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he speaks very confidently that Prabhupada also has to be a Manjari, cannot be lower than that. That's how. But we don't know what's the name and all that. There are people who know, we don't know. People who
It's really inconceivable knowledge.
Yeah, it's true. So, but yes, with time, person may come to know. I'm not able to find that book. I had it. I don't know if I gave it away to someone. So I wanted to read a section from it recently in 2021 or 22, I think, 21. One devotee Mataji from Mauritius, he passed away. So in the final days, she went through this transition of entering into Bhav and then going back to Godhead. So if we read that section from that book, you'll come to know how things are revealed. You know. So let me find it, maybe somewhere it is. So next class I can read it, few
Yeah.
pages.
Okay, and the next part of the question was like, on a regular basis, we meet practicing devotees and not pure devotees. Like, so I guess only the mercy of spiritual master will be the only way of even, I mean, to get into that, to be a first pure devotee. I think that is the only way.
Hmm?
That would be the only way.
Yes, but then when you say pure devotee of Krishna, it doesn't mean just my spiritual master who has given me Diksha. It can
Shiksha
be
Guru,
even Siksha Gurus also.
Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, who we
Yes.
guarantee
Mm.
feel that they're pure
Yes.
devotees.
Yes. So they can help us. But it's okay, that's not a problem. We have to be patient and we have to understand the science. Once we have understood the science, we'll develop desires. Such desires will then someday get fulfilled. Right? Krishna will let that happen. That's why it's important to study these books, because once you study the book, then you also develop those kinds of desires. Oh, I wish someday me too. So that me too will be noted by Krishna or registered by Krishna. That, you know, this devotee one day had this desire. So let me fulfill this desire also someday. So that's why it's important to study these books and develop those kinds of desires.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
All right. Any other question, please? If you have, we have time. I don't want to start another chapter today, so we can take questions. From the next chapter, it's all sadhana bhakti. From chapter 2 till chapter 14, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, the biggest chunk. And then we'll enter into Raganuga. So in this biggest chunk, there's description or elaboration only in chapter 2. After that, we will only have reading session because Rupa Goswami only gives instructions. Do this, do that, do this, don't do this, don't do that. And why you should do this, and references from Bhagavatam, right? Because it's Vedi. Vedi means rules. So he's just going to tell us the rules to be followed and why you should follow those rules. What are the references? Which scriptures say that you should follow these rules? So that's all will be done, right? There's nothing much conceptual there. Then when the stage of Raganuga will begin, then we'll again enter into concepts, understanding concepts. Manish Prabhu.
Prabhuji, there was one paragraph small which was talking about Shiva and Sati. Could you just elaborate a little bit on that part? What we read it today, in that there was one small I
Yeah,
think
I
Victor
understood.
Prabhu read that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I understood.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hmm. The rarity of devotional service is also confirmed in the Tantra Shastra. So Rupa Goswami is just giving a reference to us, where Lord Shiva says to Sati, my dear Sati, if one is a very fine philosopher, analyzing the different processes of knowledge, he can achieve liberation from material entanglement. By performance of the ritualistic sacrifices recommended in the Vedas, one can be elevated to the platform of pious activities and thereby enjoy the material comforts of life to the fullest extent. But all such endeavors can hardly offer anyone devotional service to the Lord, not even if one tries for it by such processes for many, many thousands of births. So he's just giving us a reference that you can be doing so many things like studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, doing yajna, all that, but it's not sufficient to get devotional service, which is rarity of devotional service. It is not easily obtained. It's just giving an example, explanation.
Okay. Yeah, got it, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Right? Yes, Madhumati.
Prabhuji, I was just thinking, Vaidhi Bhakti is also important, right? Because for a devotee has to get into a discipline and then have it's a gradual process of having the feeling. First, it has to start with the discipline, right? So Vaidhi Bhakti is also important, isn't it? For
Who said
beginners.
it's not? Who said it's not? Yeah, it isn't. Who's saying it's not important? That's why Rupa Goswami is going to describe Vedi Bhakti in the beginning. It is important, very important. At our stage, that's very important. So we have to focus on that. We are discussing the higher stages, not because we are there. We are just discussing as a matter of knowledge for understanding. At our stage, we are yet at Vedi Bhakti only, and we have to do it seriously. I mean, very nicely. But then we have to also understand that's not enough. Point is, that's not enough. That's not all. Furthermore, that's the point. Therefore, Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu is not a book for someone who has come to Krishna consciousness just recently. It's actually a book for someone who has been practicing Krishna consciousness for 5-10 years. That you first get cemented into Vaidhi sadhana. Now, after 5-10 years, when you have been doing very nicely Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, and then you have a question mark, I'm stuck, it seems, I'm not moving forward. Then you read Nectar of Devotion and you'll come to understand, oh, because I have not been praying for Krishna's mercy. I'm just doing my Vaidhi sadhana bhakti nicely, just following rules and regulations. So then the next step is do this. But for someone who is just like new in Krishna mercy, that person is struggling to chant 16 rounds. you know, that person is struggling to get up in the morning or every day go to temple or do all the angas of bhakti, which Rupa Goswami is going to tell now for 64 angas of bhakti, the Vidhi part. Person is still doing so many offenses towards the deities, right? Isn't it? So towards the whole name, towards the Vaishnavas. So that's why we have to definitely, Vaidhi is so important at our stage. Very, very important at our stage. Okay. Yes.
If nobody has a question, then I just wanted to ask about the Gita course that you will be conducting, and you will discuss about the acharyas. So,
It will
is
be
it
the same as what we have to study in Bhakti-sastri only. Nothing different.
okay?
Same.
Okay.
Yeah, same. Nothing different from them. Okay. Same only. That is just an opportunity for those who just want to study Bhagavad Gita. They may not want to do the whole Bhakti-sastri. So you just study Bhagavad Gita. Because there are people like that, they don't want to do Bhakti-sastri, but they want to study Gita. And the reason maybe they think Bhakti-sastri is too long, we cannot commit to it, or we are still not chanting 16 rounds, we are just chanting 14 rounds. So I still give them an opportunity. Okay, if you just want to study Gita, study, because that will help you to become a better devotee. So it's like that. Okay. And I must not have. Okay, I'll do it. I have not yet shared any quiz now for NOD. No, so I'll share the first one today. We'll stop here and see you on Thursday.